It's chilling surveillance video of college freshmen pledging a fraternity. They're being marched downstairs, blindfolded.
Hazing in sports, an issue that plagues all athletes.
Hold on. Hey, Jay, you need to come look at this. You see it?
Is that?
It's
From the high school level.
And New Mexico State University has shut down its men's basketball program for the remainder of the season.
The school's bold decision comes as a response to a number of hazing allegations against multiple players on the team.
To college, to the National Football League. Yet at one of the most esteemed academias in the country, Northwestern University, longtime head coach Pat Fitzgerald and the entire football team is under the microscope for allegations of hazing. The Daily Northwestern spoke with a former player and described running, which included 8 to 10 upperclassmen donning a purge-like mask on their faces, and they would dry hump the victim in a dark locker room. The player also described the car wash, where a player was mandated to spin around naked in a shower as others on the football team rubbed against them. In addition, a freshman center and freshman quarterback mandatorily were told to get in position and perform a snap with no clothes. It was done for members of the team, primarily first-year players, when they had a hiccup in the game and or practice. The Daily obtained images of whiteboards that were labeled Runs Giving and Shrek's List, containing a list of names indicating players that needed to be ran. These corroborations have been confirmed now by multiple players, and yet there's more. According to the former player, team members allegedly identified players for running by clapping their hands above their heads around that player. The practice, the player said, was known within the team as the Shrek clap. The university's response? Well, they hired the law firm Arent Fox Schiff to look into the hazing within the program. In Northwestern's investigation, the school reported Fitzgerald, their coach since 2006, had no knowledge of the hazing. He is currently suspended 2 weeks without pay. The ex-player rebuts this assertion. According to the player who spoke with the Daily, Fitzgerald repeatedly made the signal during practices when players, specifically freshmen, made a mistake. Everyone would just be looking at each other and be like, bro, Fitz knows about this? Because you wouldn't take that action otherwise, the player said. Everyone joins in because he's the head coach. Oddly enough, this video was uncovered.
When I think about the difficulties that every team has as they welcome new members into their families, one of the big issues that we've seen in college athletics and across the country is the hazing issues. Things that we believe here in Northwestern, number one, is there's a zero tolerance for hazing. There's no reason why to ever have it. How about thinking about, in our context, what we do? Have a big brother program. Have an upperclassman or someone older within the team look after a younger player. Teach them the values. Teach them what it means to be a part of your culture. Never forget what it was like to be that young person coming into a new environment.
This was Fitzgerald in August of 2013 for the Positive Coaching Alliance. As a board member, Fitzgerald is aware of the mission statement he took an oath to uphold, yet former Wildcats, with startling revelations, claim he did the inverse of this pledge. Via the Daily Northwestern, the former player said he reported his experiences to the university in late November 2022. Other acts the former player described to the paper include a freshman being forced to strip naked and bear crawl or slingshot themselves across the floor with exercise bands. After the investigation concluded, University President Michael Schill said this of Fitzgerald's suspension. In an email to community members, Schill said he may have erred in suspending Fitzgerald for 2 weeks without pay because of the hazing of his former players. The one athlete that went to the Daily Northwestern on the condition of anonymity said those that dialed him in the middle of the night had suicidal thoughts because of what they suffered. USA Today's Dan Wolkin would write in his opinion piece the following: at this point, Fitzgerald simply cannot be retained. This was his program, his locker room, all of it from the record to whatever was going on in the showers. If he doesn't own that, if the school doesn't own that, he is not the man he wanted the world to see, and Northwestern is not a university that deserves anyone's respect. Fitzgerald, a former player for the 1995 Northwestern Rose Bowl team, took over the program as a young assistant when head coach Randy Walker passed away. He is the winningest coach in program history. He is also a union buster, saying in 2014, the thought of college athletes participating in the alliance gives him pause, even advising his roster to vote no. The union would back a National Labor Relations Board ruling, which reached a fact we knew all along. along. They are not student athletes, but employees of the school. Fitzgerald is on a full court press to prevent that from happening, wrote The Nation's Dave Zirin at the time. Although it is against the law for him and his staff to openly threaten players who want to vote union, Fitzgerald is lobbying hard to make sure that a no vote takes place in 2 weeks. As we conclude, a special shout out to the journalist that broke the story at the Daily Northwestern, a student-run newspaper. It is critical to uphold these mediums, even if a Goliath-like program, such as a Division I football team, for example, aka the bread makers of the school, want to squash criticisms.